Let's take a look at this example. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to change the order in my exponent over here. I'm going to have 5x n, and I'm going to write 2 outside of the parentheses. This is going to be the same thing. Minus 8x to the n plus 3. As you can see, this is nothing else, just a quadratic trinomial. I'm going to make this problem looking a little bit simpler if I'm going to assume at this moment that x of n is equal a. Now I have 5a squared minus 8a plus 3. It looks simpler, isn't it? What we're supposed to do first, we have to multiply the leading coefficient by the third term. 5 times 3 is equal 15. Next, I'm supposed to ask myself what two numbers multiplied by each other are going to give me 15 and add to each other are going to give me negative 8. These numbers are negative 5 and negative 3. Negative times negative gives me positive. 5 times 3 gives me 15. Minus 5 plus negative 3 is equal negative 8. Next, I'm supposed to rewrite my problem, but this time instead of negative 8, I'm going to write minus 5a and minus 3a. I'm going to have 5a squared minus 5a minus 3a plus 3. This is the same thing because negative 5a and negative 3a together are going to give me negative 8a. Next, I have to check what I can factorize from this expression. I have 5a squared minus 5a. I can factorize 5a. And inside of the parentheses, I'm going to have a minus 1. I have 3a plus 3. I'm supposed to say negative 3a plus 3. From these two terms, I can factorize negative 3. And inside of the parentheses, I'm going to have a minus 1. Next, please realize that we have common term. We have to factorize this common term or common factor. Okay, so that's why I'm going to have a minus 1, and inside of the parentheses I'm going to have 5a minus 3, everything whatever left. Now this is basically the simplest form which we obtain, and now don't forget that we assume that x to the n is equal a. Now we're supposed to a replaced by x to the n. That's why I'm going to write x to the n minus 1 times 5x to the n minus 3. And this is the solution to my problem. If you want to verify your answer, simply multiply x to n times 5x to n. That's why I'm going to have 5x to n x to n power times negative 3 gives me negative 3x n. Negative 1 times 5x to n is minus 5x to n. Minus 1 times negative 3 gives me positive 3. I have 5x 2n minus 3xn minus 5xn is equal negative 8xn plus 3. Just take a look what we have got and what we have at the beginning. So we got exactly the same thing. That's why this is the correct answer to my problem. Let's take a look at this example. First, you're supposed to notice that inside of the parentheses we have the same term. I have a plus t, a plus t. And I have second power over here, right? 2n, and I have n over here. So what I have to do first, I'm going to rewrite this problem in a little bit different way. I have to use the properties of exponents and rewrite this as a plus t to n and everything raised to the second power. This is basically the same thing over here because n times 2 gives me 2n minus 3a plus t. I copy this down to the n minus 6. Now, please notice that we have a plus t to the n power and a plus t to the n power. In order to make this problem looking simpler, I'm going to assume that this is my x and this is my x. Okay, I mean a plus t to the n power, okay? Just write this down. A plus t to the n power is equal x, just for a moment. So I'm going to rewrite this problem and I'm going to write 3x squared, because this is my x raised to the second power, minus 3, this is my x, minus 6. As we can see, we have got the regular quadratic trinomial. And look at the coefficients. We have 3, 3, and negative 6. All of them are divisible by 3. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to factorize 3 first. And inside of the parentheses, I'm going to have x squared minus x minus 2. Let's factorize the quadratic trinomial which I have inside of the parentheses. I have x squared. Okay, anytime I have leading coefficient equal 1, I'm going to have first terms of my binomials simply x, because x times x gives me x squared. Next, I'm supposed to look at the sign next to the third term. If it's negative, it means that signs in my factors are opposite. So one of them is going to be positive, another one is going to be negative. Next, I have to look at the sign next to the second term is negative. It means that the bigger number is going to be next to the negative sign. Next, what two numbers multiplied by each other are going to give me negative 2 and add to each other are going to give me negative 1. These numbers are 1 and negative 2. 1 times negative 2 gives me negative 2. 1 plus negative 2 gives me negative 1. Please notice that we have multiplication. 3 is multiplied to x plus 1 and is multiplied to x minus 2. That's why I can ignore the external parentheses. That's why I'm going to have 3, open parenthesis, x plus 1, x minus 2. But this is not the end of the problem yet, because we assume that x is equal a plus t to the nth power. So x has to be replaced by a plus t to the nth power. That's why I'm going to have 3, open parenthesis, a plus t to the nth power plus 1 and open parenthesis again, I'm going to have a plus t to the n power minus 2. And this is the solution to my problem.